Can you hear me? Back in the back? Okay. All right. We'll go ahead and get started. What a great day, an awesome day for Boyle County. My allergies are kicking up like they are for a lot of folks. We've started this journey not that long ago, but it was just past let's say 4 or 5 months. But I can tell you the desire, the need to have high-speed broadband in Boyle County has been with us for years. Well, today we're going to start that journey anew with high-speed broadband coming to Boyle County. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you that are here today. What I said in a 5 August press release, that broadband in this county is life-changing. It's life-changing. We're going to service parts of the county that have been traditionally underserved with telecommunications, where much of the landlines don't function with any degree of reliability. This broadband fielding and deployment will start this year. And as you will soon hear, it's going to be countywide. That's not to say that the fiscal court and myself don't still have a little bit of work, and we want to partner on an application to move forward to make sure we have 100% coverage throughout the county. It's a great honor to have you all here today, but it's truly a great honor for me to introduce our first speaker in this event. Ms. Ellen Call is the Senior Director of Government Affairs for Charter Communications. And although we have just recently met, we feel like we know each other very well because we have a great mutual friend and we've got to visit about them, so we have that connectivity. Ms. Call, would you please come forward for some remarks? Thank you.
All right, so I'll take this. Judge, thank you so much. It is an honor to meet you finally. I've heard a lot of good stories about you from our friend David Whitehouse, and I am so glad to be here today and so glad to see my friend Congressman Guthrie. I don't think I've seen you since before the pandemic, which feels like, like the before times, whatever, several years ago. But Judge, thank you so much for having us here today. And we do have great news for everybody, everybody in the county. So on behalf of the almost 3,000 Spectrum employees that call Kentucky home, we want to thank you for having us here today and for being here. And we're excited to be here to make the announcement that construction will soon begin on a broadband expansion project that will bring gigabit broadband and the full suite of Spectrum services to over 2,603 homes and small businesses in Boyle County. That's a lot of people who don't have it right now, who are getting ready to have it sooner rather than later. This build out is part of Spectrum's approximately $5 billion investment in unserved rural areas all across the country. The Spectrum knows the challenges that rural communities are facing when it comes to connectivity, and we have made this our very top priority. This is our mission to bridge this gap. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Representative Daniel Elliot, who is a strong advocate in Frankfort for his constituents in Boyle County. Representative, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here with you today to talk about some of the work that we've done in the Kentucky General Assembly to make this a reality. In both the 21 and the 22 session, we have worked on issues related to broadband, which ultimately in 2022 resulted in House Bill 315, which was a $300 million appropriation which created the Kentucky Broadband Deployment Fund. And through that, the Office of Broadband Development through the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority, the KIA. And my observation of this has been that we have had such a great partnership at really all three levels of government. That starts with the federal government. I'm at the state government, of course, the county government here with the fiscal court, the county judge executive. We've worked very hard together as a team, and when we do that, the public wins. The public wins, and of course, we have private investment now with Charter and Spectrum, and our goal is universal coverage for rural Kentucky. And I'm from Gravel Switch, Kentucky, so it doesn't get much more rural than that. And so I understand this right now, you know, not being able to make a phone call when I go down to Forkland. So I appreciate the public-private cooperation that we've had. Government can be a force for good when we use it in the right ways. And so I'm honored to be here today to be part of this announcement as we make tremendous progress toward hopefully improving the lives of all of our citizens. So thank you for having me, and it's a great honor to represent you in Frankfort.
Well, next, we are honored to have a very good friend of Boyle County here today, and that's our Congressman, Guthrie. Brett will tell you, and I'm going to steal a little of his thunder, about a year ago we were together in Bardstown. We were talking about broadband. I'm going to let him take it from there. But we've been working this issue for a long time, and I honestly thank Brett Guthrie for all his contributions and outreach to Boyle County through his efforts in Washington to help make this happen today. Congressman, please. Thank you. You got the mic.
Thanks, Judge. Thanks, everybody. It's bittersweet. This is a great day to be here, but as you guys know, redistricting and the growth of the area where I live has kind of shrunk my district, so I'm not going to have Boyle County after January, but I promise you this, as long as Burke's Bakery is making cream corns, I will be in town, and I'll come see Center College, and more importantly, what's interesting, you meet a lot of people when you're in government and politics. You're not just out and about. You have 20 counties, you meet a lot of people, but you know, this community, I've really made a lot of friends, and that's always been important to me, and it means a lot, and no better friend than Judge and the court, all the squires that are here. But this is important. It's easy to make the people case for internet, broadband internet. You saw it during the digital divide. You saw it during the pandemic, where Farm Bureau and other places were putting hotspots outside of their stores or in their shops, so people could do and go into coffee shops, or going to McDonald's, or going to places just so kids could do homework. And it really exposed telehealth. All these things that are coming because of the internet, it really exposed the lack of rural broadband. And it's something that Congress really focused on. It's something that we had focused on. And so when we're home, when we're not in session, a lot of times when I'm not in Washington, I'll see people say, "Why aren't you working?" I said, well, we don't just work in Washington. We got to work for the people back home as well. I'm sure Daniel hears that when he's not in Frankfort. And one of the things that we wanted to do is, how do we get rural broadband out? And so we had a meeting. We had a meeting in Bardstown, had FCC commissioner, FCC staff come in, and invited our local officials to be there, and the county officials. And I know a lot of people have things to do, and we pick a date that we can make it work, and it doesn't always work for everybody, but Judge Hunt showed up. He was there. And they talked about this thing called RDOF funds. Well, I know it stands for Rural Development. I'm sure I didn't know what the O is in the RDOF, but funds is the F. And it is a way that can be, it's a FCC, which I'm on the committee, that is oversight of the FCC. It's fees that the FCC collect and they can use for rural broadband, because you can make the human case for it, but how do you make the business case? How do you get investment to go to places that just don't have that many subscribers? It's easy to get people to invest in rural areas where there's a lot of customers, because customers pay, and if you only have a handful of customers, it's hard to recoup an expensive investment in investing in broadband to get to communities. So the FCC has a system through RDOF. I think Charter and Spectrum has access to bring it here. And it's here, I can tell you, because your judge showed up. Your judge I saw was taking notes. I was like, that's just like an Air Force guy sitting down and take notes in a meeting like this. I got it all in my head. He's taking notes. And I try to keep it in my head, and I forget it, and he walks away and calls back and says, hey, how about RDOF funds? It was just a good example of federal government. This is really FCC fees, but it's federal government, so therefore your tax dollars indirectly doing this. It's also state government working together, but working with the private sector as well. And we can't, as we're trying to figure out how do we get more rural broadband, it's, you know, the old, when they were trying to get electricity out, co-ops, you had TVA, you had all these things developed to get the underserved areas, the hard to serve areas, the hard to get to areas where there are just not a lot of customers. But as I said with the human case, if you live in that area, this is a way, this is your lifeline. This is how you get information. This is how you do your homework. This is how you go to the doctor now in a lot of ways. And so it's vitally, vitally important. And I will tell you, this is an example of all of us being able to work together, working with the private sector on a common mission to make sure that people that a lot of times get left out of the equation aren't left out. Aren't left out. And that's what this really says. It says that people, no matter where you live, how far off the beaten path you may be, and how beautiful your area is, we're gonna make sure that you have access to the 21st century, to the technology you need, so your kids can thrive, your communities can thrive, and seniors who have to drive, instead of driving to the doctor, you can do it, a lot of it through telehealth now, when you get these kind of services moving forward. So it's important. And it's important that we're able to work with your judge, with your court, with this community to make sure Boyle County has what it needs. And the Forkland community is only first, as it's going to continue to spread throughout Boyle County with the great work of everybody working together. And it is a great privilege for me to be here, to be part of the announcement. I look forward to, you're going to have a wonderful Congressman in Jamie Comer, but I'll ask if I could sneak back on his territory when we see it, and see it in place, and see people actually getting access and use of it. And so thanks so much. Thanks for having me here, and thanks for your persistence. Thanks for reminding what RDOF is. Thanks for reminding moving forward, and making sure that what really shows for the great effort myself, I have Mark Lord here, have Kylie Fouché here who's worked with y'all, and they put all these kind of events together as we move, and it's good for them to see their efforts and their work, because they're servants of the people too. Absolutely. We don't pay them what they're worth. We don't pay them what they're worth. They pay them what the taxpayer can afford. But when they can see their efforts in putting an event together was taken advantage of by you and the court, and it puts into fruition, we can see construction work being done. That really says we're in it for the right reasons, we're in it for the right times, and we're able to get things done. And I really appreciate you being a partner, all of us being a partner together to make that happen. So thanks for letting me be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Great words. I do want to echo and follow on with Congressman Guthrie's comments. I know the January 1, the great team is moving on to new horizons, but I have got to take this public opportunity to thank Kylie Fouché and Mark Lord for all their comments, their assistance, their love for Boyle County, and their connections with Brett and his ear. They have been difference makers in this county, and thank you, and God bless you in all your future endeavors. It's important to know that this effort is going to reach every corner of Boyle County. And I've asked the mayors to be here. Jim Douglas, you want to say anything? Jim's from Junction City. It's going to cover his area. Jim, you want to say anything? All right. See Matt Ellis here. Matt, would you, from one of the most underserved remote areas of the county, Matt, would you like to say something? He's the kind of unofficial mayor of Forkland.
First, apologize for my appearance. I was cleaning bathrooms about 2 hours ago, and I've been parking cars ever since for our festival this weekend. I just want to thank Howard, the fiscal court, Daniel. Daniel had a guy tell me one time, you can't go anywhere in the world without seeing two people from Gravel Switch. So we have made that. That was David Sparrow that would always say that. One thing about Forkland, you know, it's like we always want to be left alone. We feel like we've got the most beautiful part of this county. And when you drive down on the second weekend of October, you can see that with our trees. But at the same time, we don't want our elderly to suffer. We don't want our children to suffer that can't get online, can't do some classes from home. So we appreciate so much, Judge, what the fiscal court have done. I tell you, at times I feel like we have two magistrates that cover us a lot. So we appreciate what all of you all do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I know for a fact we're just a bit ahead of schedule, so Magistrate Tom Ellis, which is the western part of the county, one of the most underserved parts of this map that you have before us, he said he would keep his comments brief. And so we'll see if he's a true man of his statement there.
Thank you, Judge. I do have a reputation. In all seriousness, Congressman, the best two words that I heard you say a few minutes ago, Forkland first. It has been my privilege for the past 4 years to be magistrate in District 1, which when you fold the map of Boyle County, because we have a 22-mile long ridge and knobs and valleys and deer and everything in the world that you would want if you love outdoor living. It's my privilege to serve in District 1 as magistrate. But as the judge and Congressman and Daniel, of course, has commented too, getting a signal out there is virtually impossible right now. And COVID punctuated that so severely. But God bless you all from Spectrum, and we're looking for that 2-year implementation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Magistrate Ellis. And in closing, I've got to say to Elliott that Ben Uselis and your team of Heather and Carla Sandusky and everybody that's here with you to represent Charter and Spectrum have been nothing but true professionals to work with and been exciting. We have another magistrate that just showed up. Jamie, would you like to say a word or anything?
No, just thank you.
Okay. All right. I tell you what this is, I'm still just kind of tingling with excitement because this is something that our residents have needed for years and years and years. And we are now moving solidly into the 21st century. And this is going to start where we need it the most, and it's going to eventually cover the entire county. And we will work with Ben and Charter and Spectrum to make sure that every home has high-speed broadband internet. Where are you, Ben?
Over here, Judge.
Up there. Is that right? Is that a true statement?
We'll get there.
Okay, we'll get there. So, I don't have anything else. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out here and showing your support for this endeavor. And I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to the fiscal court, because I have a great fiscal court. We have 5 out of 6 magistrates here today, and they've been very supportive of this effort and this endeavor. So in closing, again, what an awesome day in Boyle County. Thank you, Charter and Spectrum. And we're looking forward to a long-term relationship here in Boyle County. And I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much for being here.